All right. Welcome back, guys. We're here again for another week of Loners. We hope y'all are doing well.
Episode
43.
43.
43 in the books. Yeah, we're recording in a different location today, but we still have to get that content out to you guys, you know.
Yes.
So keep your good vibes up for Linda's dental procedure going through well. She's still in the process of it.
Thank you for pointing that out. But yeah, I am. This is just a PSA to anyone out there who's listening. If you know something's wrong with you, as many people who are professionals are telling you you're fine and telling you to relax and telling you it's just in your head, and you know it's not in your head, do not stop until they figure out what the fuck is wrong with you, because it's been a long week.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be another long week coming up. So just, don't ever gaslight yourself into thinking you're
Wrong
about your own body. Anyway.
But yeah, we hope y'all are doing well. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you for everyone who said like best wishes.
Yeah, we appreciate that. That's nice. Yeah, we're glad you guys are enjoying the content. You know, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, jump over to our vlog channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep it real,
we couldn't get a
loners.
video up this past week just because of this. But
stuff going on.
But we promise we're gonna try. We have stuff we want to do. It's just.
It's gonna happen.
It will.
All right. So.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
And yes, another reaction video.
Today we're gonna do one that's a little more serious. It's a lot more serious, but it's interesting. It's called "How One Mass Shooting Changed the UK's Gun Laws Forever." So we're gonna learn about, I guess, some of the UK gun laws, but also what caused them to change. I guess there was a big event. So
it's wild.
Yeah.
Side note: there was like this family recently who just all got like killed. Oh, excuse me. Right? There was like a family of like 6, including like a 10-month-old baby.
Really?
Sorry, am I not talking close enough? Thanks, babe. Yeah, recently. I think you even saw, you were reading the article like a day or two ago.
It happened in California.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. Did he shoot them, or I think he did.
They were saying that it was like a targeted attack, so the family probably had some ties into like some type of, you know,
that's so
illegal
fucked up
thing.
to kill a 10-month-old.
I think he's 6-month-old.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But there was like a whole family. It was like execution style.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, that's something you see in like movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's start. Today we're gonna do a video called "How One Mass Shooting Changed the UK's Gun Laws Forever," and we're gonna see what went on in the UK that caused them to actually change the laws. All right, let's go.
People are getting shot all around me.
Hundreds of students ran for their lives.
We didn't think this would ever happen.
The shooting at an elementary school in Newtown,
Virginia Tech.
Parkland Columbine High School.
A total of 15 people.
33 dead.
20 children, 7 adults.
More than 240,000 US students have experienced gun violence at school since Columbine in 1999. But in the UK, it's a different story. Private ownership of all handguns and semi-automatic rifles is banned, a concept unimaginable in America. But how have these two inextricably linked nations ended up with such vastly different attitudes on guns? And how did this massive change in the UK even happen? To understand...
Just sorry to stop so early, but like that's so crazy if you think about it. And you guys are probably you guys always get stricken by this, that it's like there's so many shootings in the US like every year, so many, and a lot of them happen at like elementary school and like middle school and junior high.
If you hear the clacking, it's our dog and the dog we're dog sitting. Can you guys give it a rest?
Yeah, they're like running around a little bit.
They
but
are in dire need of attention the past few days.
It's just it's crazy the amount of school shootings we have, but I have to think the reason that it doesn't change so much is because the gun industry is such a profitable industry here.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
The NRA pays off everybody.
Exactly.
who could actually make choices to change this stuff.
Yeah. People in Congress do get paid off, and a lot of them have stakes in the NRA.
Yeah, this country, I mean, I know we're not the only country like this, but money over lives will always be the motto.
I mean,
the
it's
unspoken
I think
motto.
it's the most here in the world.
First world, yeah. There's countries where
Well, maybe like
citizens are probably, but like we're a first world fucking country, so it's kind of like
it goes back to like the healthcare and everything else. It's like I think we're like the only ones that doesn't have free emergency.
Universal, because it's not technically free. It comes out of taxes and stuff.
Yeah, but it's
like
we
still pay taxes.
Yeah,
on
but
a
at least
shit ton
I'd
of things.
rather pay taxes annually or whatever,
Hell
so
yeah.
that when if something does happen, I don't have to stress out at that moment about it.
Absolutely, I agree.
Like financially, but yeah.
And we have to go back to 1996 when the Dunblane massacre changed everything.
Grief, shock and disbelief in the Scottish town of Dunblane.
A former scout leader with a grudge.
It is a tragedy without precedent.
16 tiny children died right here at Dunblane Primary School. The massacre, carried out by a man who had licenses for his guns, was enough to change the UK's gun laws forever.
What's truly amazing is that by the end of the next year, it became illegal to own a handgun in the UK.
But how did the UK get to that point so fast? It was mainly due to the activism from those personally affected by the attack.
My daughter Sophie was one of the 16 young children who were shot dead at Dunblane Primary School. She and I were on our own. She was my only child.
Dr. Mick North was an academic before the shooting, but after, he found it impossible to return to that life. So he devoted himself to making sure other parents never had to experience his agony by becoming a gun control activist.
Hi.
One of my initial reactions after Dunblane was a feeling that this should never have happened because the guns that the perpetrator used have been too easy to come by.
Dr. North combined forces with other people who were touched by Dunblane, like former Scottish Labour MP Richard Simpson.
Now, he was a doctor at the local hospital at the time, but then after that experience, he changed his entire career, became a Labour MP, and helped to lead the motion to change the gun laws in the UK.
What I discovered was...
It's so crazy that, I mean, it's crazy to think, like, from over here that they changed the laws within a year of this shooting happening.
Right. And what's wild to me is, these are adults that are activists, like stopping their careers to do this. Here, activists are like high school kids, college kids.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of adults taking this as seriously.
I mean, you
which
do,
is really
but not as much.
nearly
Not as much.
It's always like young kids having to like beg for their safety.
Yeah.
Versus like you don't see as much activism when it comes to the adults. They'll speak on it for like the moment, and then it's like as quickly as it happens, people forget about it.
Yeah.
And
it is true. It is forgotten about very soon.
Yeah, it's super. Everyone here is super desensitized to like human lives.
Shootings. They would brush it off pretty quickly, and I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's just because look at 1999. I don't even know if that was the first. It might have been the first mass shooting in a school, Columbine, here.
I think here, yeah.
And then look at our gun laws now. They're the same as they were. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, I agree. And it's wild that, like you were saying, within a year, they were like, no, we're pulling the plug. We're doing something about this.
Yeah. And it's crazy. And there's been countless other shootings, too. And, like, just crazy ones where there was that Stagecoach, the country music festival.
It wasn't Stagecoach. It was like Route 99 or something. It was a country festival
in Vegas, right? Yeah. Someone was in the hotel building, and they just started shooting down at the people at the concert.
They were saying it was a terrorist attack. This white man was apparently
a terrorist.
Saying Allah Akbar and stuff. Which, I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't believe that, but I don't probably.
You think they made it up for the narrative?
I don't know. Could be. It's just. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, nonetheless, a bunch of people died.
Yeah. You would think that our government would learn something from these things happening to be like, we need to be way more strict on weapons.
And how does he get in that hotel too? Like
with like that giant bag of I don't know.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
There's cameras and everything. Like, what are your cameras doing?
Yeah, it's crazy.
don't know. It's fucked up.
The then Conservative government was in the process of actually seeking to deregulate the process by which guns were regulated in the United Kingdom. And that really made me very annoyed.
These two men were part of a movement fighting to be heard by politicians. Residents of Dunblane and relatives of victims started speaking out and organising public relations campaigns and creating petitions.
Politicians weren't necessarily used to hearing from the victims of shooting incidents.
Everyone who says, I enjoy the sport, I want to hold the gun in my hand and have the live ammunition. What I say is, you have those emotions for enjoying your sport, but feel the emotions of a parent who is never going to see their child again.
There was a massive groundswell, a bit like the climate extinction movement now. It wasn't highly coordinated or paid for.
So we had a petition called the Snowdrop Petition, which was getting the public to sign up for a ban on handguns, eventually gaining over 700,000 signatures. Within 2 years, a total ban on handguns had been introduced in this country.
By 1999, over 165,000 guns and over 700 tons of ammo had been surrendered.
There was a lot of opposition to it, and it was suggested that it would actually badly affect people who used guns for sport, but it hasn't done so.
What we did was a major achievement, and I'm very satisfied with what we were able to do.
Dunblane happened. The gun laws were overhauled before Columbine even happened 2 years earlier. It's like the precedent was set. We knew what was starting to happen across the world.
And 2 years later, on April 20th, 1999, 2 teenagers shot and killed 12 fellow students and a teacher at Columbine High School near Denver, Colorado. Just like Dunblane did in the UK, Columbine shocked Americans. It wasn't the first school shooting in the US, but those images captured on live TV set something off that had ripple effects throughout the country. And just like in Dunblane, no one was closer to the situation than the victims' parents.
I'm the father of Daniel Mauser. He was one of the students killed at Columbine High School. He was 15 years old.
Like Mick North before him, Tom devoted his life to fighting for gun control, even taking a year off from work to lobby at the state capitol.
Just 2 weeks before Columbine, at the dinner table, Daniel asked me a question based on a conversation that he had with other members of the debate team. He said, "Dad, did you know there were loopholes in the Brady Bill?" Brady Bill is a national law that requires background checks to purchase a gun. And I just kind of blew it off. He was then killed with a gun that was purchased through a loophole in the Brady Bill. I mean, how could I not act on that? To me, that was very prophetic. And it made me realize that when we have loopholes like that, when we have so much carnage in this country, we have to do something about it. I became very vocal, active.
And Tom did make some very real progress on a state level soon after, helping to introduce a bill to close the same gun show loophole he and Daniel had discussed over dinner. In 2000, the public voted and passed Colorado's answer to the Brady Bill by an overwhelming majority of about 70%.
I felt that I did something to honor Daniel. I did something in response to something he brought up to me.
But this small victory at the state level in Colorado was overshadowed by strong national backlash against gun safety laws.
Yeah, of course that's going to come and happen on the national level. It sucks, but...
I think people just think, well, I wouldn't do that, so I should be able to have my gun.
But
well,
they're also...
You don't fucking know.
I know.
Nobody knows you.
And
I
think it's hard for people to be empathetic and be like, what would I feel like if I was that parent?
Right. It's not that fucking difficult. I don't have children, and a part of the reason I don't want kids is because I worry about everything.
Yeah, and
I don't want to fucking worry about my kid going to school.
I mean, there was I don't know if you guys actually. I'm surprised we didn't even mention this earlier. There was a kid who brought a handgun to school and shot
bullets.
the teacher.
He was 6 years old, a kid.
Yeah.
Brought bullets to the school. Threatened. He said next time this is going to be a gun.
Yeah.
The teacher reported it. Stopped. They didn't do anything about it. Because, why would they?
It was in Virginia.
Yeah, luckily the teacher's alive. But the kid brought a school. The fact that a 6-year-old can get his hands on a gun.
I know. And the fact that he knew what to do with it like that.
Yeah.
He literally knew exactly
use
what
it.
to do. Yeah.
That's wild.
Like, think if this kid gets off with that, or like just
Well,
like
his
doesn't.
parents need
Well,
to
I know,
be
but
locked
if
up.
his parents don't get locked up, or if things move forward and he thinks like, oh, it's not a big deal. Imagine him in 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah, I agree, and I think people aren't gonna take it as seriously because the lady is fine. She was in the hospital for a bit.
Yeah, it things are getting worse with guns here in the U.S. and I don't know, they might be getting worse all over the world. Like if you guys would be able to tell me that, but I mean I think by far we just have the most relaxed gun laws.
Of like a first
We're
world country.
of a first world country. That's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about like I understand
I
in certain
know.
like slums in Brazil or something. You're gonna get
Yeah.
a lot of because I was actually watching a video about that in Brazil in certain areas. There's like I don't know. It's like an illegal army there kind of, but they actually won't shoot innocent people, but they do fight with the cops sometimes because a lot of the cops are actually corrupt, and so they won't shoot like innocent people. But you could get hit in crossfire, obviously.
Right.
But they're like cowboys and shit. Like they like are protecting and going against the corrupt cops and shit.
That's very interesting.
It's crazy.
Where did you hear about this?
One of Kurt Kaz. He was like going around there when that was happening.
He's cool, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I think we're so far in the wrong direction with guns.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I feel like we're preaching to the choir because it's like we know we could do something about it. Like the government knows they could
Change
do
things.
something and change it. They're just more worried about money. That's all it comes down to.
But to what extent? Like
Money.
how far is it gonna have to go before they actually are like, you know what, we need to tighten the gun laws nationally? And I'm not saying like
No, they need to do it nationally. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, it's more important to have guns off the street than to be like, well, it's my right to have the gun because I'd rather have kids more safe in schools than just have. I'd rather have kids safe in schools than just someone who's upset about not having a gun to play with. Like, who cares? I'm sorry.
I always trip out when people are like arm the teachers or like just have it's like you're
That's not
absolutely insane.
You shouldn't have to get to that point.
You shouldn't. Not only that, teachers can barely afford school supplies. Half the time it comes out of their dime.
Yeah, and I don't know.
You want to teach them to be prepared for combat? Like, you're crazy.
Teachers don't get paid enough
Fuck
initially
no.
already. But let us know in your country, wherever you guys are from, UK, Germany, wherever, if the teachers actually get paid like a livable, like decent wage there compared to like other professions over there. It's interesting to know. But yeah, here they don't. That's for sure.
We are in such a shortage of teachers because it's getting around that like it's not worth it, for a lot of people financially. That they're starting to, in some states, allow people without degrees to become teachers.
Which sucks because her brother just went through a bunch of school to become a teacher.
Yeah, I mean, not in California. I don't think they're going to do that anytime soon.
I saw it's in another state.
Yeah, but like some places where the shortage is really bad, it's like, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we keep getting off topic.
Barely a year after Columbine, then NRA President Charlton Heston gave this famous threat.
From my cold, dead hands.
In America, we are so
That's creepy.
wrapped up in individualism and rights that we say, well, no, we can't do that because that might possibly affect my rights. And for a lot of people, that's more important than what could possibly happen to them or their neighbors. It's a cultural issue that is very starkly different between us and other nations. I think it's shameful in the U.S. that we have failed to really react in any significant way.
Since Columbine, the narrative in the US around gun rights and gun control has only become more polarizing.
Restricting law-abiding Americans from acquiring guns is obviously unconstitutional.
But I have to say, a lot of it I think is due to the media. And
absolutely, they make it seem like they don't want you to be free.
Yeah,
it's like you don't come out of the womb with a gun in your hand and they're taking it away. Like, that's a choice, and you're bred to feel you need that.
And again, I don't think there has to be like a black or white where it's like I'm against you because you like guns and like this type of thing. Like, I get some people hunt. I get where they're from. They're raised with it, whatever. It's like it is what it is. But then what if you like rent the guns or something just for that period of time to go hunt or something like that?
I said that in one of our previous videos a while back when this kind of came up. Like, I always thought, and I don't go hunting. I don't care to.
I mean, I know some people who do back home.
And that's
but
fine. Yeah, I know, to each their own, whatever. But I always thought when you're hunting that the land you're hunting is regulated. Like you have to like.
I think most of the time it is.
Somebody that
I think
you're
it's illegal
there.
to not to.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So at that point, rent a weapon there.
Yeah. Return it.
Have your ID as collateral or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Have your fun and be on your way. Like, to me, if you're gonna do it as a sport, do it as a sport.
Yeah.
It shouldn't come home with you.
Well, then it also goes into the situation of where it's for self-defense if someone breaks into your home.
Okay, I'm sorry. Find another fucking way. Like, how many people are getting their homes broken into that are like, thank God I had that gun?
Okay.
I don't know.
This is where like.
Knock on wood.
This is where I'm a little like, I see it because
I don't.
If I had someone breaking into my home at night, obviously I would want a gun.
Okay, but I feel like propaganda implants that fear. They're the ones telling us.
Yeah, maybe.
It's for my protection. How, like, I get it. Not everyone grows up in the same circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay? But I feel like the fact that guns exist is the reason people feel like they need to protect themselves with a gun, if that makes sense.
But then it's also more
like if guns never existed in our own homes to begin with, like we don't even know a world where you can have a gun privately. Okay.
It's just like government owned guns and stuff like that. Yeah.
Most people are not going to be afraid of somebody coming in with a gun in their home. Like it's just not going to be something that could happen as often.
Yeah.
As if it's pretty easily accessible, and then
maybe like a taser gun or something like that instead of it.
There's just other ways to protect your home.
And then you also don't kill the person who broke in.
I don't know. I just feel like there's not enough home break-ins that are random. Let's just be real. A lot of that shit's
planned,
personal.
Yeah.
Planned. I know it's not all like that. I know, especially
you have the cases
especially
where it's,
back in the day, when people are like can get away with things
no
because
security
like our
systems.
DNA analysis wasn't as like accelerated and stuff.
And like no one had cameras, so you could break in and you could get away with it.
Yeah,
and
like I just feel like we're at a time where it's like inexcusable. Like you don't need it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the reason I think that is because
like who picks and chooses? You deserve to have that at home, but you might use that improperly. Like it's an all or nothing thing.
It's so tough because of how far we are in the other way to go back at all.
You know what? Whatever.
People get so upset, and and when stuff like that, like I guarantee. If something was put out like how it happened in Scotland, how they took away the guns immediately,
people would riot.
You'd have another January 6th, like that would happen
Worse.
again. Yeah.
Worse.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I hope that people in our Congress are like strategizing something, but who knows?
They're not.
Yeah.
It will never happen. Honestly, I hate to sound negative, but I genuinely don't think it's gonna happen in our lifetime.
It'll only happen if one of the people of Congress's sons or daughters gets killed in something like this.
I think that'll change it.
That'll actually, I think that will push the ball or whatever a little more that way, because you have someone in the seat of power to really be like, no, we need to change something. And it sucks that it would have to get to that, but I think that's the only way.
Not that I want any martyrs here.
No, but I feel like that's the only way they would actually empathize.
I understand. And that would take one person. Look at, what's his name? Ted Cruz? Was it Ted Cruz? His daughter?
I don't know what happened.
She attempted suicide or something like that recently.
With a gun?
She's bisexual. She's like 14 years old. I don't know. I didn't read too much into the details. I also know that the media is going to say one thing and like she's on like social media saying something completely different.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like, do you think that man's going to wake up tomorrow and be a little less homophobic or be a little more empathetic to mental health? No. And it's his own child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least I just don't believe he will. I don't know. But I will say, I do notice that these things don't happen at prep schools and things like that, really.
They probably have higher security.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Is it time to repeal the Second Amendment?
The left has their rigid, radical, anti-gun agenda.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47.
In the US, barely any federal gun control laws have passed since Columbine. In fact, experts say the most significant change in gun law is when politicians let a Clinton-era assault weapons ban expire in 2004, making assault weapons like AR-15s legal again. Since then, the AR-15 has been used in almost every
Do these idiots not realize when your Second Amendment right to bear arms, what kind of guns existed back then? Like a fucking musket? Like, I'm sorry. They're not ARs and AK. Like, you know what I mean?
I
like,
know.
you don't have... This is not...
Changed,
the founding fathers would not approve this. I just don't think they will.
I know. I have also heard that... I think there's more of the shootings happen with handguns, I think. But there's been a lot of shootings too with automatic weapons, which is like, why should anyone not in the army be able to have automatic weapons? I don't get that. But I don't know.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
Mass shooting in America, and the problem continues to get worse. The US has more firearms per person than any...
That was my high school. That was the shooting that happened. Yeah. Didn't you see that? It's fine.
Any other country in the world. And it's the only country in the world that has more guns than people. And the US gun homicide rate is 25 times that of other high-income countries, including the UK.
The main problem is not necessarily the Second Amendment, but how that has been interpreted.
In America, there needs to be an understanding of how to tighten the law without grossly infringing on what are perceived of as rights under the Second Amendment.
But it does seem ridiculous to use the words of the Founding Fathers to decide how you control or don't control weapons that are usually used in war zones.
There have been so many mass shootings since Columbine that many Americans feel hopeless about reform. The fact remains, however, that 61% of Americans do support stricter gun laws. And there are many potential changes, such as closing the gun show loophole or restricting assault weapons, that would make a huge impact and would not go as far as a total ban on firearms.
It takes a long time sometimes. It's not just changing the laws. You also have to change culture to get people to be willing to change the laws.
And perhaps there'll come a time when enough people vote in politicians who will be supportive of the gun control measures that America needs and deserves.
No one has kids so they can buy them bulletproof backpacks. You have kids so that they can hopefully thrive.
Yeah, exactly. And it's scary too, because like my sister just had a daughter, like not like super recent, but a year or two ago.
A couple years, yeah.
Yeah, so it is recent.
She
but
just
like
turned 2, I think.
And then like it's crazy, like her seeing. I imagine her seeing these things where like a 6-year-old brings a gun to school. It's like, is this what I have to look forward to? Like in the next few years? It's like,
yeah, I couldn't. I could not be a parent simply because of worrying
it's
about
like
my kids.
People need to think like they need to think preventatively, not like react off of then. Oh, it happened. Now I feel bad. It's like you need to say like, what can we do as a country so we don't have to deal with this anymore? But not enough people in power give a shit.
Yeah, they don't.
In a better world than you did. We really have to ask ourselves if we're giving them that opportunity.
Definitely not giving them the opportunity. This was from what page? I don't think we mentioned it.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mention it. It's ATTN. I think it means attention.
Attention.
Yeah. We'll link the original video. This was a good video. I mean, it was something we already obviously know that we should do, but it's good to see like how other countries
it just
deal
shows
with
that
it.
We could do it if we wanted to, and it's up to our government to take the steps.
Obviously, we have a lot more people than I'm sure in the town that it happened in over here in Scotland, but
no, but the UK in general saw what happened in Scotland and said, "We're taking action."
Yeah, like immediately.
Yeah. I just feel like when it comes to gun control, that should be a nationwide issue. That's not a state by state.
It's not. And we really do we do things too much on a statewide level, and not enough on a national level a lot of times.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to safety, human rights, it needs to just be
all national. Yeah, definitely. Well,
and then little things that don't affect everyone can be state issues. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That was an interesting video. It hit us in the feels, you know.
Yeah.
It did.
It's really heartbreaking to see parents.
It
go
is.
Through that.
I wanted to cry like 3 times watching that video.
If I cry, I'm gonna have a sinus pain.
Yeah.
Can't cry.
But yeah, it is a little more eye-opening. But again, we do kind of realize this and talk about this regularly. But yeah, let us know your guys' opinions, what you guys think, how your guys' country deals with this type of thing, and what you think could be solutions. I think it's just good to talk about it and like get ideas out there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If there's anything we missed, because I'm sure there is. Okay, Max.
We hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Jump over to our vlog channel and keep those notifications on, all right?
Thank
Tune
you
in
for
next week.
watching. Stop looking.
Peace out, loners.
Bye, guys. Thank you.